Hello and welcome to another edition of the One Team We Agree On. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Kyle. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right considering I am a teacher in December.
Yeah, it's been end of the year evaluations for me and all that, but hey, we took some time out today to get on a guest that we've been playing for some time and looking forward to having you all check out our interview today with none other than Union 2 head coach Ryan Richter.
Yeah, it was great having Ryan on and really great interview. I think you guys are all going to enjoy it. He had such a great first year with Union 2 after being an assistant coach with the Union and came up through coaching the academy and had success there. So he's been with the Union a while and this year with Union 2, they broke their team points record, made it to the Eastern Conference Final, and just a really overall successful season that they could certainly be proud of. But it was great to hear from Ryan and get his thoughts about his journey and a bit of and about coaching and everything.
Yeah, so without further ado, here's our interview with Union 2 head coach Ryan Richter.
Great. All right. So we are so pleased to have on our podcast the head coach for Union 2, Ryan Richter. Really successful season this year, and it's been a pleasure getting to cover the team and get to talk to you a lot, Ryan. So welcome and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on and thanks for taking the time to speak with me as we reflect on the year for Union 2.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about you a little bit first. Just growing up, what was influential in getting you into soccer in the first place?
Yeah, like most kids, my dad was a player, not at the professional level, but at the collegiate level. So he threw me in it from a very young age, like I've done with my boys, and like he did or his dad did with him. So it's part of our family, part of our lives for generations and something that I fell in love with from a very young age.
And then, so you played college soccer, you went to LaSalle. Just what led you to deciding on LaSalle? And then you were an accounting major, right?
That's correct, and that degree does not serve me on a daily basis, I would say. But what does is the great people that I met in my time there, and the main reason that I went to school there was the coach. We had a great relationship from when I met him through the whole recruiting process. And he was a father figure to me while we were in school and keep in touch, speak every couple of months still now. And he had a great influence on my life of just he first of all, he helped me grow up to become a man, at a time in your life when you need that kind of support and people to keep you in check. But the way that he supported me and taught me, how to lead people, how to behave around, right now kids of the age that I'm working with, and how to push them to be better. And it's not always on the field. The more impactful stuff is the way that you can kind of help these guys grow from being kids, turning into young men. And that was a great influence on me and what led me to going to LaSalle.
Yeah, I see that influence has really paid off because I see that same way when you interact with the players and everything. So, I mean, the character side of it's so huge with coaching. It's more than just the actual sport itself and the training. So, that does go a long way. Um, Now, was playing professional soccer always the plan, or what was your backup plan?
Yeah, no, I mean that was the target once you kind of take steps. First, it's can I play in college? Can I play at Division 1 college? Can I get a scholarship? You do that, you kind of reset the goals, and it's, how far can I take this? I had a successful first season in college, and then it's like, okay, what could be possible after that? Um, not many players from LaSalle end up as professionals. There's a couple of us,
Mhm.
myself, Johnny, Jason Plumoff, and one or two guys before us, Kevin Coleman, Cecidio Colasante. So, not a long track record of players from LaSalle playing at the professional level. Um, but that was the target of mine. Once I had that little bit of success, I gained the confidence, like, okay, maybe we can take this a little bit further. And then once, that became a reality, I had a really strong senior season and got drafted into the MLS by the Union. And once that became a reality, it's again, you set the bar. Now can I be successful at this level? Now how far can you take this? And then when that ends, It's setting new goals. The same in the position I'm at now. It's setting new goals for next season, setting new goals for 5 years from now, and chasing them. The same way that I encourage my players to have really big ambition and then chase it with everything that you have.
Yeah, and just talk about the feeling of being drafted fifth overall in 2011 by your hometown club. And then you scored a goal August 24th, 2011 against Harrisburg City Islanders. And just, you know, I found it really interesting, by the way. I read somewhere that, you were finishing up your credits well after you got drafted, which, what, six classes? Is that correct? So that's a lot.
Yeah,
You
that
know?
sounds about right. And
Yeah.
some help from teachers understanding the situation. I think we were away for like the first couple months with preseason, and for the most part, they were all cool with it. Some I had to take it. I think the following semester, I think they just said there's no way this is going to work, which that's okay too. But I know I'm happy that I did finish my degree. Not everyone does once like that kind of becomes a reality, so that was important to me and my family. But no, to get drafted by my hometown team, I mean that was a day that I'll remember for the rest of my life. It was my wife's birthday, so I take away, her special day and put the attention back to me. Um, but no, it was an amazing moment for my family. So many people that have helped me get there to see that actually become true that you're going to be a professional player. That was something really special, and um, on the other side of it, and this is a lesson that I try to teach my players is guys, you have no idea how hard this journey is going to be. At the end of that season, I got released. So, I think everyone in my life probably knew that I was a union player, and I was like the professional soccer player from Southampton. And then to that get taken away from you, you learn a lot in those moments, and you learn how much do you really want this, how hard do you want to chase this, and that's something that gets really lonely when you have to deal with it. Now, I had a lot of great people that supported me through that, but I learned a lot about myself and the resiliency that it takes to kind of get over that moment when that gets taken away from you. And that's a story that I try to share with my players because it's like, guys, this is not going to go perfect. And you have your plan of what you think it will go, but it will get really hard in some moments. And what you can lean on is how much you love this game, how hard you want to work to achieve whatever your goal is, and be ready for these kind of hiccups in the road. So, kind of in that one year, you hit the highest of highs, and then some really lows, really low lows. But through it all, I'm lucky enough that I've had great people with me by my side and support me through everything that I've been through.
Yeah, you kind of answered my next question there, but there is something I do want to touch on. So after you got released there, you kind of bounced around MLS, USL for a while. Um, Talk about maybe some of those lessons at the time for you personally maybe seemed unfair or difficult to manage, but now reflecting on that as a coach, you understand a little bit more, and then those how you impart that on these players, some of these guys that have been bouncing around like MLS Next Pro or other areas.
Yeah, I personally never looked at it like some coach was unfair to me or
Okay.
I deserve something that I didn't get. That's not how I was raised. It's work as hard as you can to try to achieve what you want, be a good character, and have the right values and morals, but you don't make any excuses when it doesn't work out. That's how I was raised. That's how I try to raise my kids is you can do the best that you can. Um, and you got to focus on what's in your control. And if it doesn't work out, we don't make excuses. We say, is this what something that we really want? And then we keep going and chasing it. And that was kind of what I did through my career. I went to USL from there. Played a year in Charleston. We won the USL that year. It was amazing. The following season, I was still under contract in Charleston. Went to preseason with DC United. They decided not to sign me, but in that preseason, we played a game against Toronto FC, and I played really well in the game. So after that week, DC decided not to sign me. I drove to Charleston to rejoin Charleston, and when I got there, I got a call that Toronto wanted me to come in. So I drove straight from Charleston, straight back or flew to Toronto a couple days later, and then it worked out that I went to MLS and went back into MLS, and that was a really cool lesson for me. And then you go through 2 years there not playing so much, and that's I couldn't break in, and that's where I was at. So my decision was to go to a level where, I thought I could get better and compete and play every day. Went to NASL and had an amazing experience for 2 years with Ottawa Fury. Met um, probably one of the most influential people in my life. The coach at the time, Mark Dos Santos, he's the new head coach for LAFC. So we're proud of him
Mhm.
for that. Happy
Nice.
for him. But he had such a great impact on me as a player. He got a lot out of me. And then, what I want to do, the kind of leader I wanted to be when I was a coach. A lot of the ways that he led his team are things that I thought were the right way to do it. So that was amazing for me to see. After 2 years there, came back home with Bethlehem Steel to give basically it was to give one more shot in MLS, to see if I could make it in with the Union. It didn't work out, so I moved to New York Cosmos for 2 years, and again met another great coach, a great leader in Gio Savarese, another person that was very influential in the way that I try to lead people. The way that he is with everyone, knows everyone's family situation, what's going on, is your wife good, how are your kids, how are your parents. Then he showed me that there's a lot more than just being on the field to try to connect with people. So the journey that every player goes on is different. Me, it was always chasing, how far can you take this. And I'm grateful for every experience that I had, and like I said, when something didn't work out, we don't make excuses. We go for the next thing, and attack that 100%.
Um, I do kind of want to ask about your time at Bethlehem Steel for a second. You got to work with two people that were at the Colorado Switchbacks that have recently been let go, I believe. But talk about your time with James and oh my, you were there with oh my gosh,
Stephen Hogan, yeah.
yeah, Steve Hogan. Sorry,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
talk
good.
about them. Sorry about that. Like just them and those moments and what made those guys great.
Yeah, I was actually James is in town for a couple of days, so I actually was at lunch with him this afternoon.
Huh.
Um, but no, they're two top people, two people that I connected with right away. James is one of my best friends in the game. Speak to him, and now he's a head coach at the USL level. We kind of can bounce ideas
Mhm.
off each other. We reach out to each other with problems that we're dealing with, and it's just nice to kind of get someone that's outside of your environment, that you can that's going through some similar things, guys that you can bounce ideas off of, and try to learn from and see how they would handle certain situations. But no, two great people. James is one of my best friends, like I mentioned in the game. Um, and Yeah, it was a lot of ups and downs that year. You remember that was the first year for Bethlehem Steel, so there was a lot of things that the organization was trying to figure out as far as what they want the second team to exactly be. Um, but like I said, it was a great experience, and probably if I don't do that, even if it wasn't, yeah, I would say there were a lot of things that were not perfect for the point of my life and career that I was in, that it probably wasn't a great fit for the long term. But if I don't do that year, there's no way that I end up working in the academy 2 years later and then progressing my way through working with the first team and then as a second team head coach now. So, like I said, it was a very tough season, I would say, just the point of my life that I was in. But what that led to after my career was really important.
Yeah, and so you worked your way up through coaching with the academy. Just talk about that experience a little bit too. You know, how you got started with that.
Yeah, so I actually my whole playing career in the off season, I would come back and work in the Union Juniors program. If you guys know the name Ian Monroe,
Yep.
he influenced so many coaches throughout the Union organization, but it was Ian running it, Phil Karn, Kevin Coleman. These guys brought me in while I was a player during the off seasons and really learn how to coach. And as soon as I started to get involved in coaching kids, I loved this piece of the development. I mean, it's so innocent. They take information without any with so much less, I guess, attitude or their own
Sass.
opinion. So yeah,
Sass,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
sass,
a
or
good way to
why are
put
we
it.
doing this?
right.
Yeah, so it's like it's just the game at its purest.
Mhm.
I still coach my boys teams now, and it's like I really have such a strong passion for coaching young kids. But this was my introduction. I fell in love with everything Richie was doing at YSC. I fell in love with the building. It's still when you go in there, it's like so nostalgic. And then what they were trying to do with the academy, the idea of, developing the American player to try to help him play at the highest level. It's like, what if, as an American soccer player, like how can you not love this idea and like be fully in on this vision? Um, and that's kind of what led to the academy job. I think the guys that were involved, Tommy Wilson, Ian Monroe, Richie Graham, they knew like that what I wanted to do in this game as a coach, it aligns with what their vision was of the program, and that's trying to help the American player progress through and see if we can create world-class players by creating the right environment for them to develop. Um, so when I started in 2018, um, again, I spoke with Richie and Steve Graham. They got me involved in some of the stuff they were doing with kind of, it's really young. We're talking under 8, under 9, under 10, the Union Pre-Academy. Um, and again, I was all in for this. I was all in for the development of young players and coaching the kids. It's so cool when you see kids that are 7, 8, 9 years old, and they love the game. They want to train for 2 hours straight. They want to compete. They want to get better. And they have their own ideas. They surprise you with some of the stuff that they can come up with, the creativity. So that was really cool for me to get involved at that level because, yeah, I love seeing. I still am super passionate about coaching young kids today. Um, so that's how I started with the academy.
So similar to Jim starting when he came up through the ranks during his time when he was at Philadelphia, when he got my understanding, Jim kind of started out there as well, coaching younger kids and kind of worked his way up too. So I guess transition into that, what was the best advice you ever got from Jim?
Put me on the spot. That's a
Yeah.
No, listen, it was the best thing that I learned from Jim and the way that he managed the staff and managed the players, is he always when we're in this and in the season, it's like you can get so caught up. You can be watching games 24 hours a day. You can be like your mind only here. And what I learned from him is the importance of, hey, you're a human. You have a family. These people are the most important thing. And this soccer stuff, like this will take care of itself if you do a good job. But don't miss your life because of being a coach of a soccer team. And that's something that I believe in fully. We're incredibly hard workers. But this is number two. Family is first, and the rest, soccer, this stuff comes second. And if the soccer stuff doesn't work out, that's okay because the family stuff is number one, and that will work out. And the soccer stuff can take care of itself. And he always kept put that in perspective. I hope that the staff I work with now that they feel like I give them this freedom to like look at life that way and understand like guys if you need something you're gonna miss your kid's game when we're in the office and it's not something critical like please leave go like be with your family be in important things because we miss enough for this we miss enough for working in professional soccer so I said that's the biggest piece that I picked up from him is take the human view, family first, and then we all perform better when we have this is what my opinion is.
Yeah, no, I think that work-life balance is so important.
It really is. And just with your time with the first team, you were one of the assistants. Like, what was your day-to-day, week-to-week season responsibilities, and how did that prepare you for when you took over Union 2?
Yeah, so a lot of things. I mean, running training, preparing for opponents, and then post-match review and presenting that and both those for the team each week. Um, so a number of different skills that you pick up is the most important thing, speaking in front of people. I'm grateful for Jim that he let me do this weekly, um, to reflect on the game, hold people accountable in front of a group. Like that's a very tough balance to make because people get sensitive when you have to call them out in front of the group. But trying to direct the conversation in a way that it's not an attack on somebody, but you make a correction and we have standards that we have to hold people to. So that's from a post-match review standpoint. Pre-match, the detail that goes into it. I mean, you're talking watching 4 or 5 games for every opponent that you play. So those hours add up, especially midweek games. You're talking 15, 20 hours a week of watching games. And you have to go in and be focused and be able to gather the detail appropriate so that you're preparing the team in the right way when you present it to the group. And then running training, finding your voice in front of a group of professionals, finding the way that the keep sessions flowing the way that you want them to, but stepping in at appropriate times to make the coaching points to kind of drive make sure the focus is on what you want the team to improve in. So those are all skills that you work on that make you a better coach, I would say, from a technical standpoint. But the piece that you don't get as assistant coach that at least I felt I needed to get better at is the leadership part, the communication, the way that we're creating a culture and an environment where everyone is pushed, but everyone feels like, they want to be there every single day. And this leadership piece is just that is not your job as the assistant coach. You try to help as much as you can, but ultimately people are going to go the way the head coach goes. And that's something that's a different job as a head coach, even if it's at the Union 2 level compared to MLS.
Yeah, and speaking of leadership, just talk about Bradley Carnell for a moment. Just how have you seen him grow as a coach since arriving in Philadelphia? And then the same for John Shear, um, you've worked with in various capacities. Just how have you seen him grow as well?
Yeah, I'll start with Bradley. I mean, it came very clear when Bradley came in, like he has no agenda. It's his agenda is to improve the club, improve the team, see the team play in the style, and try to get the most out of people. And he's very open with his communication. And he has been the entire season. Anytime I call him, I know how it can get. Like you're preparing for a game, and it's like you have all this and you get a call from the second team coach. Like you can imagine that's like, come on again. But I never felt this from him, and I appreciate that type of leadership of like, okay, this guy for me, I want to do the best job I can. It's to support him. I always feel like he has time for that. And that's great leadership words. I never feel hesitant to call him if I have a question, if I just need clarity on something. But his communication has been amazing throughout the organization. And it's a big part of the culture that they created this year. And you can see it on the field. You can see the way that the guys are connected, uh, the way that he's gotten so much out of that team. So that was really cool for me to see, and again the way that he's treated us in the second team project, it's clear to him that this is an important piece of the entire project. And for John, and John and I have been really close for probably the last 8 years. We started together at the Union around the same time and have worked together in a number of different roles. He was a scout for the academy when we worked in the academy, scout for the first team when we worked in the first team, and then as director for the academy and the Union 2 phase over the last year. But we're very close, and our relationship is one where if I need to challenge him on something, I never feel like I can't do that. He's open to that. We might argue back and forth, but we have one target in mind. Let's do the best. So no one needs to be right, but we need to do the best. That's how we approach this. And like I said, we have a lot of the same mentors, a lot of people that the principles that they instilled in us of what this project is supposed to be and how we're supposed to treat the people in it. We believe in a lot of the same things. So even if it's something that we disagree on, again, like I said, our target is let's do this the best way that we possibly can, and we're both all in for it. And at the end of the day, he's my boss, so I have to say nice words about him on here.
Well, I think it's been very apparent that there's been a lot of continuity between all the various levels, Academy, Union 2, first team, so I think that that's huge. I mean, that's huge for a program.
I
So,
mean, that's been our biggest takeaway from this year has been
yeah.
the continuity from the first team all the way down through the academy
Yeah, and I know
and our observations.
yeah, and Bradley and John talked about that a bit in their presser. So, that's huge to success.
Um, Looking at the season, looking back with Union 2 this season, what are your final reflections and how did this team grow and what would be the story of the season for you, so to speak?
Yeah, so the story of the season to me, when I take the long view, I'm really proud of the culture that we created. I'm proud of the culture of the staff that we had, and we didn't have so many, I would say, tough moments throughout the season, but we had one or two, and the way that we responded in those moments. And the real story of the season is it's about the development of the players. And if you go about halfway through the season, I think you saw a change in 5 or 6 players from the first team for a number of different reasons. They're at different points in their development. David Vasquez went to San Diego. Amazing opportunity for him and a successful move for the Union organization. So that's a while that hurt a lot the style of play because you're losing to me probably the best player in the league at that time. You're losing him on the field. This is a win for David and a win for the Union organization. CJ moving on loan to Lexington, and Isaiah moving on loan to Detroit. The two of these players, again, huge pieces of why the team is winning on the field because their level is so good. But for them, and I agreed at the time that they could go for something, another challenge, and we try to push them to get better. So for their own development, these two players moving on was really important. Um, Henry Bernstein, Gavin Wetzel, Zach Mastrodimos going to college. Again, three players that played important roles in our team. Andrew Rick playing mostly with the first team, so we lose him for a lot of games. Not lose him, but he gets the opportunity that we're trying to push all these guys to. Um, so you take that. That's seven players that were pretty key contributors to a lot of success for the first half of the season when we were really on fire. Um, so basically, you come in with a new team. It means Jordan Griffin is playing 90 minutes almost every game. Pierce and George get opportunities as goalkeeper. Gio becomes a right back after playing limited minutes, I would say, for a lot of the season. Oscar becomes a full-time starter by the end of the year. Kellen LeBlanc becomes a reliable 90-minute guy. Um, and then you see the development of Stas as a striker in the last 10 games of the season. So we after that period, with those seven players in, we lose three out of four games, with the other one being a loss in penalties. So 4 games in a row, that's a tough stretch. 1 point in 4 games. We have to reset what the culture is, what our habits are, and we go and we win the next 7 games in the regular season, and then 2 games or sorry, win the next 7 games and then lose against Red Bull in the conference final. So the story of the season to me is that we brought a group of players along that changed because they needed something different, which I'm totally cool with. That's the job. Push them to go to a higher level if they needed more challenge. Or the guys we lost for college. I wish we didn't, but we're not signing you right now. We're not going to hold you back from this opportunity and change your life in a negative way. Go try this. Totally cool. We lose these players. We have a small hiccup, a 4 game where the culture does not feel right, not just because we're losing, because it's a lot of change and we get it back on track with the last 7 games of the season. And this to me was a really positive piece. And that's credit to the players that were involved, credit to the staff who worked incredibly hard to get everyone on the same page, and credit to the culture of what our club is. And it's about development, and we were able to do that in a really quick way. So I hope that's the story of the season that everyone's most proud of. I know for me that it is. Do you want to change 7 guys in the middle of the year? I hope not every season, but but uh but no, that was really cool this year to be able to get everyone back on track and back in the same page.
All right, do you want to take the final question?
Yeah, so I know Kyle, you kind of asked this at the end of the after the Red Bull game there at
Yeah.
the end, but just now that maybe you've had some time to think about it, because Kyle kind of put you on the spot there at the end of the season, but just how did you grow as a coach this season?
Yeah, I grew in just the way that I deal with people on a daily basis. And I hope that my staff and the players they feel like that, and that's in a way of more listening and less telling people what I think they should do.
Hmm.
Basically, we have a lot of smart people that I work with. We have a lot of smart players I work with, and they have ideas. And to be a better listener, and still you have to make the decisions, but to give people the space that they can be creative, they can express themselves. And not only because of the ideas that might come out of that, but also the culture that it creates where it's very open. Um, and people feel like they can express themselves in searching for what the best version of them is. So, no, I don't think anyone's a finished product in that, and I hope that every year I get better in this in the way that you deal with people, manage people, deal with your relationship and friendships with people, um, and the benefit of that is that our culture only gets stronger and stronger. And as my mentor Ian Monroe once said, it's not the drills or the coaches that make the player, it's the environment. And I strongly believe that, and that's what we have to focus on. You know, John, myself, the Union 2 staff, let's create an environment where people can push each other every single day, that it's positive, that it's competitive, that people are free to chase the big goals that they have and the big dreams that they have.
I'm gonna say it better myself. So, appreciate the time. We appreciate the time, Ryan. And where can people find you on social media if they want to follow you?
They can't. I'm private now.
I know, I
Oh.
know. No, it's all
No,
good.
at Shackledino, and I'll keep that handle probably forever because I don't know how to change it. So
Oh, no, I get it. I mean, my handle is from when I was like in my 20s, and
Yeah.
my my dad used to call me that. My teammates, I'd be up at the starting block in college, like ready to swim a race, and one of my teammates, she'd yell, "Silly Jilly," and I'm like, all of a sudden my nerves would be gone because I'd be laughing.
yeah.
So, it's just kind of stuck though. So,
But no,
Well, I'm
this
a
yeah, it's all
boring
good.
follow, so you're gonna see pictures of my kids and my family. That's about it.
But that's what it's all about. That's it's important stuff. So, well, great. We so appreciate your time, and it's been a treat following Union 2 this season, and looking forward to continued success and what the future holds. So,
Yeah, it'll
um,
be exciting.
yeah,
And again, thank you guys for the whole year. I think
Yep.
I appreciate all your work, and I can't stress it enough, like how important it is for our players to have to stand there and reflect on their performance, on the team performance after a game with a microphone in their face. Like this is also a big piece of their development. It really, like a huge piece of helping them grow up. So you're playing a huge role for the union organization with that, and we all appreciate it, really.
well, I appreciate those kind words.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. All right, Ryan. Well, thank you so much.
All right, thank you guys.
All right. Well, I thought that was a great conversation. It's so interesting to hear just all that went into his journey about, with the, playing and as a coach. So fantastic conversation with Ryan that, appreciate his time and talking with us.
Yeah, so again, yeah, I thought the same thing, just some of the stories about his time growing up, going into professional soccer, and then the lessons he's learned throughout the years. Thought the story of the season was excellent, the way he broke that down. So, yeah, again, appreciate Ryan for coming on the show. And where can people find us at?
So you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. We also have our YouTube channel for the One Team We Agree On. We have our website, theoneteamweagreeon.com, where you can find lots of great articles. And we still, even though the season is on hiatus right now, there's still plenty to cover. So check it out. Also, you can find us on our socials. We're at TOTWAG on Twitter and on Blue Sky, and we are also on Facebook and Instagram at the One Team We Agree On. You can find me at silly double underscore Jilly, and yes, as I mentioned, yes, kind of an old nickname there, but
Yeah.
silly double underscore Jilly because one underscore was taken, and I'm on Twitter or X, whatever have you. I am also on Instagram at the same, and I'm on Threads now. At that as well. You can also find me on Blue Sky at Jillian Almany.
All right.
And you are at Coach Almany on all
Yep,
those places, pretty much.
pretty much.
It's not Threads.
Yeah. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. We may be back later this week depending on our schedule. We
Hmm.
want to look over our previews. Obviously we want to talk a little bit about a recent signing,
Hmm.
end of season press conference, go over our predictions. Yeah, we got a lot yet to discuss and write about. So keep checking us out and until next time. I'm Kyle
I'm Jillian.
and we'll see you at the game.